And that's the 343. Okay, spousal, domestic partner, or family support order attachment. Again, attachment to that 180 form I just showed you. And here's all you need to do here. The parties stipulate. Stipulate just means agree. Then all you need to do is go to page 2 and indicate what you guys are doing. So you have some options here. Are you reserving jurisdiction for future determination, meaning no support now, but maybe some later? You would mark these boxes. And then you're done. This form is done. If that's all you're doing, there's nothing on page 3 you need to do. You're just saying the jurisdiction is reserved for future determination. If you are not going to have spouse support now and don't want it ever, and you mark that on your petition, then you're going to mark the court terminates jurisdiction over the issue of support for the petitioner and respondent. And then again, this form is done. It's that simple. I know there's a lot on here and a lot of other options, but they're not required. Now, if there is going to be spouse support, then you're going to say, what is that going to be? So if we're saying, for instance, petitioner must pay to the respondent, and is it going to be for a set period of time? Then it would be temporary. If it's going to be until further court order, we would say permanent. Then you're going to mark spouse support. So let's say we're doing temporary spouse support. So the way this reads is petitioner must pay to respondent, temporary spouse support. The following amount, each month, we'll just say, $1,000, put the date it's going to begin. And this doesn't really matter. Just make it, maybe use a date that's a month or two from the date you're doing the paperwork, but it doesn't matter when that's going to be, unless you're using that date for a period of months. So if you're saying it's going to start on this day for 24 months, then the date matters. But for taxes and so forth, it's not a taxable event anymore, so that doesn't matter. And then again, since we are doing temporary, we're going to say payable through, and maybe we're paying, for 1 year. And then again, you want this paid on the first day of the month, 15th day on the month, or maybe you want to say something like half on the first, half on the 15th, something like that. You could, however you guys want to set that up, or on, matched up pay periods or something like that, however you guys want. Support must be paid by check or money order, and that's fine, unless you want some other method. Earnings assignment order. This isn't required, but this form has been updated. So we're selecting one or the other. The earning assignment order means, do you want the money withheld from your employer? Most of our clients, again, 99% of our clients do not want the money withheld from their employer, not because they're not going to pay it, but they just don't want their employer knowing that there was a divorce, because you'd have to give them a copy of this order. So in our cases, we're saying service of an earnings assignment is stayed. That just means stopped or not being provided, provided the payor is not more late than 10 days. And so all that means is there is that option in the future. If you want to have a withholding order assigned to the case, you have that option if it goes beyond 10 days. Like maybe you guys were in agreement now and payment was always on time, and then now payment is not coming through and you want to have a withholding order. This gives you the option of doing that if it's late more than 10 days. Nothing else is required on this form. Again, everything else is optional. The nice thing about these forms is there's a lot of built-in information. All the legalese is already in here. And that's why we tell clients, don't use these marital settlement agreements you get online. They don't have the proper language. The courts is always updating these forms a couple times a year, not all of them, but some of them. And if you use some form you've Googled online, it's not going to have the appropriate language, and it's going to cause your judgment to be rejected. Again, none of this is required unless you want to, it applies to you. But if I haven't said enough in this broadcast, that we're never doing this, and we've been doing this for 10 years. We're not having to fill this out ever. So keep it simple. All right. Another form that you must have, even if there is no property, no assets or debts, just like the spousal order, you still need this order. I'm going to go back to this real quick. The spousal support order, you still need this, even if there is no spousal support, and you just mark no spousal support terminating the court's jurisdiction.